Tad, are we good? We are so grateful for each of you who've come out this afternoon or today. My name is Mark Irwin, and I currently serve as the Chief Clerk for the Mobile County Probate Court. And it's my honor to welcome you here today to a celebration in honor of the retirement of Judge Don Davis for his 24 years in service as the probate judge of Mobile County. And among many special guests who are here today, we want to make sure that we recognize at the beginning Judge Davis's wife, Dr. Beth Davis, who is here, along with their daughter, Betsy, and her husband, Trey, and their two grandchildren, Mallory and Davis. And we are certainly hopeful that through the magic of YouTube, that the Davis's son, Alan, and daughter-in-law, Jane, and grandson, Charlie, are hopefully logging in right now from England, watching the festivities from there. So we hope and welcome them. We also want to welcome Beth's sister, Helen Claire Kennedy, and her husband, Morgan, and their son, Morgan Kennedy, as well, extended family. I want to take this opportunity to thank our probate court staff for all the effort they've put into making today possible. Our leadership team, Melissa King, Mike Avery, Russ Davidson, Miranda Phelps, and Renee Jerkins, but especially the talents and efforts of Jennifer Fulton and Stephanie McNally. If you want to get something like this done, hand it over to some women who really know what they're doing, and they will get some things done, and I appreciate them. We also want to thank Tad Denson and John Strope, our friends from Airwind Productions and Dogwood Studios, for their assistance with the audio and visual for today. At this time, I want to call to the podium the Davis's son-in-law, Trey Hill, who is going to provide an invocation for us today. And then after that, we're going to ask everyone to join Mallory Hill and Davis Hill as they assist us in leading the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Trey, I'll turn it over to you.
If you would, please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for your mercies that are new every single morning. We thank you for all that have gathered here today to honor the work and legacy of my father-in-law, Judge Don Davis. Father, we thank you for setting up society in such a way that reflects your goodness, kindness, and order. In your infinite wisdom, you've given humans the ability to share in your creation and govern in ways that lead to human flourishing and goodness for all. We give thanks today for the Honorable Don Davis, for the way he has served faithfully all who have come through his court, for his tireless effort to serve and uphold the law for the goodness of Mobile County. We pray for blessings upon him, our family, and all of his future endeavors. May you give him and Beth rest and joy all the days of their lives, and may he be able to reflect on and enjoy a job well done. Amen.
Everyone will stand, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
I heard them in here practicing earlier this morning, and they did excellent. You know, sometimes I think of the probate court in Mobile County being sort of like an airport. Things are landing here all the time, and they are taking off from here all the time, and our staff is sort of like the ticket agents and the ground crew. They're monitoring all of the traffic coming in and out. The lawyers, kind of like the pilots in an airport, you know, they walk through with their nice suits on, with their little matching briefcases and luggage, with that air that they've got somewhere really important to be, and that they're in a big hurry to get there. You need to move out of their way to let them go. And as the chief clerk, I'm sort of the air traffic controller. hoping that all these things coming in and going out every day don't crash into each other. And you might ask, well, that's a neat analogy, but where's the judge? Well, the judge is the weather. You're hoping for sunny and 72, but you better keep your eye on it. I want to start today by reading, and I'll start the program of presentations today by reading a letter that Judge received earlier this week. Dear Judge Davis, I received a very kind invitation to join your celebration of your retirement on Thursday, January 16th. I deeply appreciate the courtesy of this invitation. Unfortunately, a previous commitment prevents me from attending, but allow me to take this opportunity to thank you for your exceptional, gifted, and dedicated service to our community. You have been a blessing to the people of Mobile County as you have adjudicated matters which are too difficult for the parties to resolve on their own. Your experience and wisdom have greatly served all of us. Please know I join with many others in expressing gratitude for your years on the bench. I pray that your retirement will be enjoyable and hope that it will be. May God bless you abundantly. Sincerely in the Lord, Most Reverend Thomas J. Rhodey, Archbishop of Mobile. And we appreciate that very much. At this time, I want to ask our presiding circuit judge, Wesley Pipes, to start us off with a few comments.
Thank you, Mark. I'm not going to forget that comment about the weather. That was pretty good. I didn't know we were going to tell the whole truth today. On behalf of the 13th Judicial Circuit, I do want to thank Judge Davis for his dedicated service for 24 years. There is a generation of Mobilians and lawyers who have known nothing different, and it's amazing, really. So earlier this week, Judge Davis swore me into my new term, and we talked a little bit. And I told him that I admired the way he runs his courthouse, and I mean it. This place is run like a top. Everybody knows their function. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. They know why they do it. And Judge Davis knows everything that is happening in here. And, you know, we take it for granted. And most places are not run like this. So this is a place where the trains run on time. Every document is accounted for. You know, there's just nothing out of place. So it is a pleasure to have gotten to work with you and to be in the building beside you, knowing that everything is running like it should here. We don't get crazy appeals. We don't get, you know, just all the problems that they have in other places. And it's not just that things are run the way they're supposed to. It's that the ball has been advanced. And over 24 years, there have been too many, I guess, innovations and things to count. I know that Joe and Greg are going to talk about some of those things, but those who know Judge Davis know he is not content to just let things stand because, you know, that's the way we've always done it. So your history of innovation, dedication, service, and skill will be remembered, and we thank you very much. Thank you.
Probate Court interacts with many agencies and functions around our county, and one that we are frequently involved with are matters related to the United Way, and we're grateful today to have Justine Bixler, who's our president of our local United Way of Southwest Alabama. We're going to ask her to have a few comments as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Judge. It is an honor to be asked to speak today on Judge Davis's incredible legacy and career. Our mission at United Way is to improve the quality of life of people in Mobile County and the counties that we serve, and I think of no other person that really trailblazes the efforts to improve the genuine quality of life of people than I do when I think of Judge Davis. And he has been, you know, for many years, the probate court has been known as the court of the people. And when I think of a man of the people, I think of somebody like you that is willing to get there and roll your sleeves up. And I think of something my husband always says is you can really judge a lot about and tell a lot about a man by his lawn and how his lawn's kept. And Judge Davis and his incredible wife are true tenets to that. And he gets out there and he rolls his sleeves up and he takes care of it himself. I had the pleasure of being his neighbor for many years, and I got to see that firsthand. And so he practices what he preaches. If he's putting the best foot forward, that's his expectation for everybody around him, because he believes in the community and believes that anything that he sets his mind to can truly be the best. And so thank you for that. Thank you for your investment in thousands of lives across Mobile County, to you and your wife personally, and your leadership through the probate court and the investment y'all have made. Thank you.
One of the hallmark legacies that Judge Davis will leave behind for Mobile County was the establishment of the first in Alabama volunteer guardian program, and the impact it has not only on individuals but also on entities in our community. And we've asked Robbie McClure, who's Vice President of the Infirmary Foundation. They were instrumental in assisting early on and getting this program underway. We're going to ask Robbie if he'll come forward and have a few comments.
Thank you, Don, for inviting me. What Judge Don Davis has done for the Volunteer Guardian Program and what he's done for those who benefit from it cannot be fully known, but it is immensely valued. Over the past 13 years, since 2011 through 2024, over 273 wards have been at the Mobile Infirmary and have benefited from this program. Volunteer guardians frequently make medical decisions and authorized procedures for wards, as well as making tough end-of-life decisions. In the past 2 years, volunteer guardians have aided 89 patients on behalf of the wards at the Mobile Infirmary. It's difficult to know the amount of savings, but we do know that a rough estimate is that to maintain a patient on an inpatient basis is about $1,000 a day, and this program, we know, helps us discharge almost every patient 3 months faster than they would have been discharged. Let me say it again, that's 90 days. Using this figure as an estimate for the past 2 years, it's estimated we saved in 2023 $3,870,000, and in 24 more, which was $4,140,000. While this is beneficial to everyone concerned, at the top of this support is a man who we can never fully appreciate. Don, you've done a great job. Ultimately, those who have no one to speak for them and have a program in place that benefits them is because of you. So we thank you. Enjoy your retirement. You have certainly earned it. Appreciate it.
So when Judge Davis took over in January of 2001, one of the constants in that time period through 2016 was Joe McCurchin, legendary chief clerk of Mobile County. I still feel like Joe's around every day, even though he's been gone for about 7 years. But we did not think we could pass a day like today without asking Joe to reminisce a little bit about when Judge took over and then some of the things that they saw together change in our court. Joe?
Oh, goodness. That's good to be back in the courtroom. While I was chief clerk with Judge Davis, it was always sunny and 72. I don't know what happened. But I'm sure that Judge weathered all the storms. We definitely had a few of them. And, but I just have a few comments, and I appreciate the comments about the volunteer guardian program, because Judge Davis was very passionate about that. And it was something that was needed. It was a void. And Judge saw it, and appreciate those comments, really, really do. And I appreciate my time with Judge Davis. It was interesting and fun and challenging. And not that Judge Davis is challenging, but like Mark pointed out, there were a lot of different things coming down the pipe. But Judge, I'm going to tell you congratulations several times, because I got a few comments to make. 24 years as judge is just phenomenal. 20 years as an attorney, and compared that, 44 years in law and public service. I mean, that's something. That's something to be appreciated by the community, and I'm sure a lot of other folks too. The probate judge is an honored position, as most of you are aware. Vast duties and responsibilities. Probate judge of probate in Mobile County, is unlike any other judge. He has a large staff. He wears several hats: the judicial hat, the administrative hat, and also chief election official for Mobile County. I had the privilege of working with two prior probate judges, and they were fine gentlemen, lawyers, which you have to be in Mobile County, and they took their job seriously. They were passionate about the probate court. They wanted to do the best they could, and they did. Judge Davis, to say the least, no slouch on that at all. He definitely came in with an idea of making this court better. You can always make things better. And we were very appreciative of that. We had one issue in January of 2001 when Judge we welcomed him into the probate court. I had one issue with him. He was younger than us. he was, I wouldn't say he was a baby judge, but he was, what, 44, Judge? 43. Oh, I've given him an extra year. So, you know, you can look around, you can see these judges' pictures. They're old people, old people. Judge Davis was not. He was a young man, and we welcomed him. But there were a couple of things that really changed us, the administration of the probate court and the employees. Judge was just flat out happy to be probate judge. He was ecstatic, and that showed from the get-go, from that January date. But another thing that really put us on board with Judge was his ideas, his vision, his willingness to move the court to the next level. And we were at a time in 2000, 2001, technology was taking hold a little bit, but not a lot. And we really needed to move forward. There were a lot of courts in the land that were dabbling in technology. We had so much that we wanted to do, and Judge embraced that. He told us, let's go. Now, coming from the private sector, and most of you know this, if you've got the money, you can do it. If you don't have the money, you can borrow it and do it. Government doesn't work that way. It was slow. We had some resources. We had the support of the county commission, and of course, Judge was not wavering. He had his eye on the prize, and we were moving forward, and we appreciated that. And in 24 years, this court has accomplished a lot, not just for the employees, but also for the citizens of Mobile County that the court serves, and that's just so very important. Judge had a great work ethic. He knew how to research the law. In judicial matters, which this court has concurrent circuit court jurisdiction, in probate matters and trust matters, at that time in 2001, things were getting more complicated in the legalese for the probate. Conservatorships, guardianships, adoptions. There were more contests, jury trials, and going on. And that was something that Judge Davis embraced. He knew how to handled it well, ruled correctly and thoroughly. I remember in starting going over docket cases, judge would go over, and still does, every case that goes to court, every one, without exception. Whether that case was going to take 5 minutes, like maybe a name change, or if it was going to be a jury trial or some other contested matter that was going to take days, weeks, judge would give those cases his utmost. He wasn't wavering on that. And of course, in doing that and being the chief clerk of the court, Judge and I had a confidential relationship, something that I did not share, and I don't think he shared with anyone. I knew how the man worked. He worked tirelessly. He worked efficiently. His priority was the staff, the court, and what this court meant and what this court needed to do for the citizens of this county. It definitely was and still not an 8-to-5 job. Where's Mark? Mark, did you get the memo? It's not an 8-to-5 job, and there is no overtime. The county does not pay overtime. So you're on deck. Some of the things that I'd like to mention where Judge that are noteworthy under his administration. The first item I had that just come to mind right off the bat was mental health and commitment cases. Judge had great empathy for those people who found themselves in the unfortunate situation of having to go through the involuntary commitment. The families also. Judge wanted the best for them in terms of court proceedings, but also for treatment, outpatient treatment, follow-up, to do what is necessary to make it easier and get the services to these folks that they needed. He did this very effectively, and I'm sure it's much appreciated. Another area was training and education of staff, like Mark mentioned, I mean, and the judge here too. Probate court staff, when he came in, was great. But change required more training, more education, and also getting input from the staff to find out what they needed to do a better job. Judge was very receptive to that. He never wavered on that, and we continued on to this day, I'm sure, that we've got one of the best, if not the best, courts in the nation, and I'm very appreciative of that. Establishment of a court data processing division. We had that in a loose way, but Judge felt like he wanted to establish a division specifically with court employees to take care of data processing, which obviously dovetails into technology. He did that, we have that, and it's great. He incorporated technology and other programs in all divisions of the court. Just another area where he was interested in. E-filing and records in judicial. That was a little bit of a hurdle. It's been implemented, it's welcome, but there were some legal challenges there. Improved accounting and auditing programs. The court handles a lot of funds. It handles a lot of private funds too. And he wanted those programs to be as best they could to be able to account and make sure that we were accurate in all of those accounts. Communications with the bar, improved communications with the bar, also improved communications with the public. Guardian ad litem training, there's a lot of attorneys here that serve as guardian ad litems. Having CLE credits, including ethics credits, that was something that early on was not available, but he made it available. He worked to do that. Utilization of mediation dispute resolution, which is something that the higher courts do, but the probate courts can do also. Judge utilized that to try to get parties to agree and settle their matters before they had to go to lengthy trials and usually tribulations on both sides sometimes. Poll worker training, staff training, and elections. Like I mentioned, Judge of Probate is the chief election officer of the county. Judge took that on, improved it greatly, and I'm sure that the results are evident. More attention to archive records. The court has so many archive records, over 100 years old. Judge wanted to make sure that they were accurately preserved, maintained, and made accessible under protective guidelines. Court website. I looked at our court current website over the weekend, spent about an hour. When Judge first came to us in 2001, he wanted to know, one of his questions was, do you have a website? We had email. You have a website? I said, well, Judge, we do have a website. It's 3 pages and it's static. That means you can look at it, but you can't do anything with it. Well, it is, the one we have today is light years away. And a lot of credit goes to Judge Davis and spearheading that, keeping it going, not just for the attorneys and research, but for the general public too. You know, the court cannot, obviously, personnel cannot practice law, but there's certain information that people need to know about the court. People have said in the past it's cradle to grave in probate. Well, there's a lot of truth to that, a lot of truth to that. Retirement, well, it comes. It comes for all of us probably, but it's the end of a chapter in your life. It's not the end. And it's the beginning of another one. And I know Judge has been looking forward to this. But it really hits home when you receive some accolades, turn in your keys, your badges, your parking space, get rid of that email. And for Judge, that last item is that second cell phone. It's gone. It will be very soon. It's a time for distressing and relaxing, and I think Judge is going to do that. He may only do it for 24 hours, but he'll do that. He's going to find something to do. He's got a big lawn up in Tennessee to mow and maybe even shovel snow, and I'm sure he's looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to hearing about it because I won't be doing it. But Judge, it's been a pleasure and an experience knowing you, working with you, working for you, and seeing all that's been accomplished in probate court under your leadership. And it's most appreciated by me and many, many, many others. And congratulations on your retirement. It's well earned and well deserved. Thank you, Judge.
If you're familiar at all with the history of Judge Davis becoming our probate judge, you'll know that he also served for a period of time as the general conservator of Mobile County. I just warn you, if you want to bring that subject up, it's fine, but you need to allow some time for the whole story. And it's an amazing story for Mobile County, and it's the reason that drives a lot of his desire for perfection in our court. And succeeding him in that role as general conservator for the entire 24 years he's been the judge is Greg Carwey. And obviously, we're all very close and work together very closely, and Greg's going to have a few comments to make about that.
Thank you, Mark. Actually, I've been general conservator for 24 years and 2 months. So I've been doing it longer than Judge Davis has been judge. But in the history of that is, actually, we go way back because Judge Davis practiced law with my father-in-law, Judge Bill McDermott, for about 20 years, and also practiced law with my wife, Annette Carwey, for 4 or 5 years. And then I joined the Cerroti firm in August of 2000, and he had just won the primary and was before the general, but I think November 10th or 11th, you resigned as general conservator, and Judge Noonan appointed me November 13th. So we had 2 months before he was going to be the judge. We had 350 estates that we had to do settlements on. and we got them all done in 60 days. That's how hard Judge Davis wanted to, when he took over the bench, he didn't want to have these cases. So we took Thanksgiving Day off, but we worked the day after, the Saturday after, the Sunday after, and worked all the way to about January 18th or so, getting those settlements done, and we got them all done. And then there were some special judges that heard them, but that was kind of the first thing as far as me being conservator was the transition period, and it couldn't have been any smoother. I'm going to make a few comments. I know Joe made a lot of comments on things I was going to talk about, but some of the things that the court's done that I think that's helped, the lawyers and the community. And I'm just going to hit about 4 or 5 topics. One of them is the docket being reorganized to minimize lawyers having to come to court every day, grouping similar kind of cases together. Used to be I would come down to court being general conservator just about every day, just morning, afternoon, and now we have a Monday motion docket. And the 9 o'clock in the morning are the emergency hearings that Mobile Infirmary and DHR and the other hospitals have when they need to get an emergency conservator appointed. So I know Mondays at 9 I'll have 4 or 5 of those hearings, and then at 9:30 the name changes, then at 10 o'clock the partial settlements and the final settlements, which I'm involved in, and then 11 o'clock the pretrial conferences, and then usually in the afternoon the decedent's estates. So I know my week, what I'm doing, every week, and the internet website, which Joe talked about, I get on there about 2 or 3 days before the docket, pull it up, hit my name, all my cases come up, pull the files. So everything is so smooth in probate as far as the hearings and the docket and how it's set up. Also, one thing Judge Davis has changed, a lot of cases now are just done on pleadings, where you can have notarized pleadings to facilitate having to have court hearings, and then sometimes you can submit a sworn pleading at the hearing to minimize oral testimony when it's needed. That's been very helpful, especially in the general conservator department, because I have cases where I'll do a petition to sell a house or petition to buy a car or something like that, and the guardian ad litem can, file a report and to prevent having hearings. The blocked account program is something that the court established here. A lot of cases, there'll be a minor who's 18 years old that's coming into money, and the court, I don't mind being appointed, but it doesn't make sense to appoint a conservator. It's only going to serve 6 months or a year, so the money's just paid into court. When they turn 19, they can come get their money without having the expenses of setting up a conservatorship. The volunteer guardian program's been great for me because I have 300 cases right now, and probably 150 of them are senior citizens in nursing homes that we do Medicaid applications for, and they need guardians, and that's just been great, having somebody that acts as their guardian to make medical decisions. The court audits me. They have a great audit staff. The cases, when I file a settlement, there'll be an audit report, and when I get the audit report, there's questions, I can do an affidavit, file it, and so when we come for the hearings, we're ready to go without having to have long testimony in the hearings. The court really is, one thing we're talking about 24/7, this court really is 24/7. I remember when I first became general conservator, we had a hearing on Saturday. Somebody needed an emergency guardianship and conservatorship for somebody who had been injured. And we came down here Saturday morning and had a hearing. I don't know how many courts around the state have Saturday hearings, but they do in probate. It's definitely not an 8 to 5 job, as you're going to find out, Mark. And nobody I've said for years, nobody outworks Don Davis. We're in lunch one day. There's Mike Druin and me and Frank Cruz and I think Mark, and we're at Moe's downtown, and Don says, "Let's do a triathlon." And we're like, "Okay, what, in a couple years?" He goes, "No, this year, we're going to do it." And we got the Bar Association, we had the triathlon, we raised over $200,000 or $300,000, I think, or a few $100,000 over the life of it. And, but Don's never slowing down. He's always got something going on, always working hard. In fact, about 2 months ago, Sunday morning, I was looking at my smartphone or my Android. 8:03 in the morning, I get a text from him. You have a service issue with the case tomorrow morning. I'm like, God, Sunday, you have 2 months left, Don. which was great, because we got the person served the next morning. But I want Betsy, Beth, Trey, I want y'all to try to get him to enjoy himself. Okay? Can y'all do that? But it's been a pleasure the last 24 years doing this. This job is, we're talking about, it's not sunny and 72. Sometimes it's 30 degrees and rainy. This conservator job it's a lot of stress to it, but we've all made it, we've seen the best in it, and it's been extremely helpful having you as the judge. It's going to be weird next Tuesday coming down here, and you're not going to be here after doing this 24 years. So I wish you the best. And everybody tonight, we're having a reception at Greer's from 5:30 to 7:30. Everybody's invited to. So this is going to go on all day, this event. Thanks.
I really haven't stopped to think about what it's going to be to wake up every morning and not have 8 or 9 emails since 4:30 to respond to by 7. But anyway, we'll see. I'll adjust, I guess. Honor to whom honor is due, and we are so grateful for many in the community who have offered recognition for Judge Davis on this day of retirement, and we are grateful for having them here to make some presentations, and we'll start that with Joe Bonner, President of the University of South Alabama. And if you know anything about the Davises, you know South Alabama is very near and dear to their heart. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. I think we all should congratulate the probate judge-elect too. Judge Irwin, congratulations. So, Mayor Stimson and Commissioner Ludgood and Representative Pringle, Speaker Pro Tem Pringle, and Senator Sessions, we all agreed we were not going to read word for word these resolutions. But I don't want to make light of them, because on this parchment, from the state, from the county, from the city, from your alma mater, are words that are heartfelt words of appreciation, of admiration, of gratitude, for the example that you've set and the service that you've rendered. So I have a beautiful resolution by the Board of Trustees. For those who don't know, as Judge Irwin mentioned, there's no person who is more red, white, and blue Jaguar than Don Davis. Two-time graduate, he is a past president of our National Alumni Association, a past recipient of the highest award of our National Alumni Association, is one of our distinguished alumni. And as someone who grew up appreciating the probate court, because my father was probate judge up in Wilcox County, and I remember when Don won that primary in 2001, he preceded my public service just by 1 or 2 years. I ran in 2002. I remember talking to candidate Don Davis about what it meant to him to be afforded the opportunity to serve the people of Mobile County as probate judge. And it was truly, I think, a life calling for you. And you have certainly demonstrated during these past 24 years, really, I think, because of the example that you've set. You've lived your life by the golden rule, and you've treated those who've come before this court in that very same way. So on behalf of a very proud University of South Alabama, this past December we celebrated our 100,000th graduate. Now y'all, by comparison, it took our friends in Lee County 121 years to get 100,000 graduates. It took our friends in Tuscaloosa County, when they turned 61 years, they graduated less than 2,000 graduates. But because of people like Don Davis, who came to South Alabama in its infancy, when we were a little bit younger, a little bit more of a commuter campus, he not only got a world-class education, but he took that education and provided world-class service to the people of Mobile. And really, I can say, as a United States Congressman, as the Governor's Chief of Staff, you were truly a trailblazer in your role that the whole state looked up to and admired. So congratulations, Dr. Davis, and to the entire family. We're proud of you, and we're also grateful for you. So I present this to you on behalf of our Board of Trustees with our gratitude.
We also appreciate very much Mayor Sandy Stimson joining us today on behalf of the City of Mobile as well. Thank you.
Judge, it's truly a privilege to be here, and I'm actually representing the City Council as I stand here. And unlike so many that are attorneys and they come in and out of your courtroom, I've never had to be here. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm really grateful if I don't have to go to those other courtrooms too, okay? But you know, I'm a few months behind you, and I have to look at Beth as I'm saying this. As Gina and I made the decision, as I know that you and Beth made this decision, there's a lot of course, she was age determined, had a lot to do with that, but still it was a decision tree there. Not long ago, somebody asked Jean, do you have mixed emotions about this? She says, no, I really don't have mixed emotions about it. So Beth, I would say that you don't have mixed emotions about this, and your children and your family and your loved ones, because you know, they would like to see more of you. I feel certain of that. You know, this is the day of accolades of people that lives you've touched. And if you think about all the lives that have been touched that are not here, you couldn't hold them in this building, and probably couldn't even hold them in Government Plaza. The number of hats that you wear, the decisions that this court has had to make that are not easy, don't go unappreciated. As an elected official, and never having been engaged with the courts like so many that are here, I can say this, that running for office is challenging in itself. Concerned about what goes on Election Day is a huge concern. What you have done for the integrity of elections, I think, will have a profound impact on this community forever. And for that, I would say that on behalf of every elected official that's here and everyone that's been impacted by the changes that you've implemented, we appreciate that. So thank you very much. I think the measure of so many people that are stewards of the offices that they hold is, you know, after you're gone, you know, did you leave it better than you found it? Based on just the few remarks that we've heard today, there's no doubt. There's probably not a single aspect, the most minute detail, that is not better today than it was when you found it. And for that is a huge compliment. There's a book by Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game, and since you don't have all these briefs and other things to read, you may want to pick it up. Because in the elected official world, and in the world of Joe Bonner, and so many things that we do, the infinite game is about perpetuating the game. It's not about winning and losing. Football is about winning and losing. So many things, winning a court case, losing, that's a finite game. The infinite game is about perpetuating it. You have teed it up to make sure that the probate court in the city of Mobile will be perpetuated in a great manner. So for that and every other thing that other people are saying, the city council and I would like to call this Judge Don Davis Day. And so I hereby proclaim that January 16th, 2025 is Judge Don Davis Day. And what does that mean? Well, should you get in trouble, call me and I'll tell you. So I'd like to present this proclamation.
The probate court obviously is part of the larger umbrella of Mobile County. And so in that, we share a very close relationship with the greater government of Mobile County, the county commission. And we have a tremendous commission in Mobile County and a tremendous relationship with our commission here at the court, and we really appreciate them. We're honored today that our commission president, Ms. Syria Ludgood, and Ms. Connie Hudson are here. I understand Commissioner Dewitt has been a little under the weather the last little while, but we're so grateful to have them here, and I'll turn it over to President Ludgood.
Good morning. Judge, I was trying to think, I was sitting there, first of all, I was just amazed. I have never heard Joe McEachern talk that much. Who knew he could do that? But as he was listening, as he was talking, I thought about just all the things that you've done, and I had jotted down, the first thing I had jotted down was that you brought us into the digital age. And we probably came kicking and screaming, and probably that money problem that someone alluded to had to do with the county commission, and how quickly we were able to fund what you needed to do. But it's been an amazing thing for the court, but also for the public. And that's everything we do is to try to bring government to the public, make it feel more accessible, where they don't feel like they come downtown to get a question answered and they can't ever get it done. So thank you so much for that. But the thing that I have been just most impressed, particularly over the last few years, has been your approach to the questions about election integrity in Mobile County. It's been an issue nationwide, but you just took it head on. You've gone nook and cranny. You've taken machines all over the county so that people can see what we do and explained it. You've made videos, you've done commercials. And so I can't see how anybody in Mobile County could not know the lengths to which you have gone in your role to make sure that people can go in, cast their ballot, and feel secure about what's going to happen. And that's, I think that, like the mayor said, that's very important to those of us who serve, but even more important to the people who are out there casting their ballots. So thank you so much for that. And the county commission, this is only your day in Mobile County, but in the city, but we're going to expand it. It is also Don Davis in Mobile County. So when you go to Creola, it's still Don Davis Day. So thank you so much. Okay.
We're happy to also have some folks here to offer some recognition from the state level, and I will turn it over to the Honorable Chris Pringle, Speaker Pro Tem of the Alabama House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mark. Judge, what a great testament to your life. I mean, I knew you did a lot of great things, but sitting here listening to all that you've accomplished, y'all have to be so proud of him. I know I am. You know, I was a real estate agent for 30 years, and I remember working on real estate deals that had to come through probate because, they were tied up in court or estates, and people would get frustrated. I said, stay with the judge. I promise you, when he finishes what he's doing, your title will be clear, your deed will be clear. You will appreciate everything he's doing for you. So just believe in him and have faith in him. But also on a personal note, I want to thank you for the way you treat the citizens that come before your court. You treat everybody that comes in here with honor and dignity, and you hear probably some pretty bad, sad stories. And I know that your compassion and love for your fellow man is known by all. I have more paper for you, and I'm getting even with you for all the memos you sent me about legislation in Montgomery. So I have a resolution. I'm not going to read it because it's just going to repeat everything else. And you are the very first to receive a certificate from the Speaker Pro Tem's office. So. Yeah. It's long like outside, don't leave. I did my own. Oh, okay. But not how short it is.
And we appreciate, and there are other members of our local delegation who are here. I know Barbara Drummond was here and Adeline Clark was here. We appreciate y'all so much in the service in Montgomery. And now from the Senate, we would like to bring forward our Senator David Sessions, and he has got a proclamation from Governor Ivey's office.
Thank you, Mark. I'm not going to read it all, but I am going to read a little bit of it. But before I do, I'll make a few comments. Boy, what else could be said? Not a lot. So I just do want to say congratulations. You have a beautiful family. I seen that little girl jump up and run to you. I have 5 grandchildren, so I think I know what you'll be doing a good bit of. And there's nothing better, nothing better. But also thank you. As a state senator, as a House member will know, at the state level, we get a lot of complaints from, or a lot of issues come up from constituents in our districts. The probate court, if I could count, I would probably use 1 or 2 fingers, if any. I can't recall since 2011, when I've been in office, the complaints that I've had about probate court. So that's a testament to the job that you have done, that this court does. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. Wish you all the best in your retirement. I am going to read a couple of paragraphs for this, just so everybody can realize what else is in all these others, and they go really. So, commendation from the governor of the state of Alabama, Governor Kay Ivey. Whereas Don Davis graduated from Cumberland School of Law at Samford University in 1981, where he was a scholarship recipient, Dean's List student, and the associate editor of the American Journal of Trial Advocacy. Whereas Judge Davis began his legal career with McDermott and others, and whereas he became the probate judge of Mobile County in 2001 and was admitted to the bars of the United States 11th Circuit Court of Appeals and the U.S. District Courts of the Northern, Middle, and Southern Districts of Alabama. And whereas during his term of law practice, Judge Davis developed specifics in bankruptcy, reorganization law, consumer bankruptcy law, banking law, secured transaction law, agricultural law. We might want to talk about some of them. Maritime lien law, guardianship, and conservatorship law. Whereas his commitment as Mobile County probate judge and his hard work for Alabama and the legal profession has my utmost respect and great gratitude as he journeys into his next stage of life. I wish him the best of all of his endeavors and recognize his many esteemed accomplishments. Now, therefore, I, Kay Ivey, Governor of Alabama, do hereby commend Judge Don Davis. One addition. Don Davis is a high stepper, and there's no step too high for a high stepper.
Been collecting these as everyone has left them on the podium, so now I have a handful. But, no, there you go. Also noticed that after 40 minutes, I was still here with my lanyard hanging around my neck with my card key. I thought that was pretty tacky. I should have had that in my pocket earlier. I apologize. So as you know, this is our what we call courtroom 1, and one of the things that happened when this courtroom was dedicated back in 2010, I guess. The portraits of former probate judges from Mobile County are displayed here in the court. And so, obviously now, upon the retirement of Judge Davis, it is time for the portrait to be hung. And so we are going to give him the opportunity to unveil that now that it's been prepared. And this is what will be on display for all of us to look at, and him looking over us going forward. There will probably be, his eyes will actually move in there. All right. And also, as a little bit of something, he's going to have a lot of wall space in Tennessee. I don't know what, Betsy may end up having to hang some of this at her house. A new shed. Well, we got some things to put in it. The staff wanted to do a little something for Judge, and so if you'd like to come forward, this is a little something that the staff would like to give you to display in your home so that you can remember us, Judge. You ready? He had us do that not too long ago, and just sort of occurred that might be a nice thing to do. We're all in our probate court shirts there, if y'all don't know. That's another innovation. I've been full-time with the court for 13 years, and before that, helped as a temporary judge for Judge Davis. And it's kind of weird because I got today and then I've got tomorrow, and there's going to be some things that I need to share tomorrow. So, but just to say thank you, and on behalf of the staff, myself personally, for all that you've done for us. He is a very difficult person, you might imagine, to buy gifts for. I've struggled through 13 years, Christmas time, birthday time. What could be, he wants nothing, needs nothing. It's just sort of that whole frustration. But I want to give him something as he retires, and it's a little memory. It's a little memory, and it's one of those things that builds in legend as time goes on, and I hope that it will continue to build in legend with his grandkids and his great-grandchildren. And so if he will indulge me, this is my final gift for Judge Davis, something else that he will need to hang at his new house. And I want him to show it to everybody. Because we can talk a lot about what he did, but this will encapsulate what Judge Davis was for all of us.
Tell him about
there's an old story in Montgomery that if you don't know who to put in charge of it, they make the judge of probate in charge of it. And that's true. The code is full of things that the judge of probate has to do. The judge of probate does not normally have anything to do with municipal election. The municipal clerks handle municipal elections, unless, and that's the story behind this picture, is the unless. There was a vacancy in Bila Battery in their mayor's job several years ago, and the code required that the city council vote on a new mayor to replace the vacancy. except I think they all voted for themselves. So it was like 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. And there was nobody to break the tie to get a new mayor. So the code then says if the council is unable to come to an agreement on a new mayor, then the governor can appoint a mayor. Well, unless the governor is unable or unwilling, the governor should appoint the mayor. So a few weeks after we knew of the impasse with the city council, we get a letter from Governor Bentley's office that says Governor Bentley is both unwilling and unable to make an appointment for the mayor of Ballabhatchery. The third choice in the code is if that fails, the governor doesn't appoint, then the probate judge has to hold a special election. And so there we were in the bayou holding an election for their mayor. And at some point during the procedure after the election that night, Lagniappe snapped this photograph of Judge Davis directing traffic, I don't know, laying hands on somebody, I don't know. There's all sorts of interpretations of what was going on here that the staff have come up with through the years. But it's always been sort of our go-to photograph if we wanted to like remind him of where we've been. And so I felt like he has to take this to Nashville with him. And so, Judge, this is for you. And so, and with that, everyone is invited to adjourn to the second floor. We've got a nice reception with some refreshments for you there, and really appreciate all of you being here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm about to run right over the opportunity for Judge to have his own comments. So, without further ado, Judge, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. I'm just simply overwhelmed with all the kind words and comments that have been offered today and the resolutions that have been presented. And I just, part of me believes that you've been talking about somebody else, not me. You know, I don't consider myself being extraordinary, just a guy trying to pursue, or a lawyer trying to pursue the concept of noblesse oblige, which is based on the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48, where Jesus said, "Everyone to whom much was given, of him much more will be required, and from him to whom they entrusted much, they will demand the more." I was taught by my parents that I should try to do my best and exert my best efforts in everything that I did in life, and that I should try to fulfill my duties to the best of my ability, no matter what the task was, whether it was cutting grass as a kid or whatever, practicing law, and certainly as judge of probate. These two guideposts have, these 2 points I just noted have been guideposts throughout my adult life, and especially while I've had the opportunity to serve as Mobile County's judge of probate. I attended the State of the County and City breakfast last week, and my longtime friend, Mayor Sandy Stimson, who was here earlier, talked about the impact of him being an elected official, what it had on him as well as his family. And what he shared is correct, and he alluded to that today. Being an elected official is quite challenging, even in the best of times, for both the elected official and the members of the elected official's family. I've been blessed with a wonderful, supportive family, some of whom are here today. You've met my two of my 3 precious grandchildren and my son-in-law, and I'd like to introduce you again to my wife, Beth, my life partner. We've been married 45 years, it'll be 45 years this coming August, and my daughter, Betsy. Regretfully, my son, Alan, daughter-in-law, Jane, and my other grandchild, Charles, live in England, and they were not able to be here today with us. But I want to thank them, as well as my more extended family, for all they've done to help me and support me and in every regard for the past 25 years. and to enable me to pursue my dream of being Mobile County's probate judge and serving as Mobile County's probate judge. Mobile County's probate court is a large operation, as has been alluded to today. Quite frankly, it's analogous to a multi-million-dollar business enterprise. A lot goes on here every day, and the court's operations are located on 3 floors of this building. Most of my personal time, though, is dedicated to the courtroom, to the bench here. It's impossible for me to be everywhere within the court's operation at the same time, which means out of necessity, I have to delegate, and I've had to delegate to others. For me to be a good probate judge, it was incumbent upon me to surround myself with great people. And I have been so fortunate my entire tenure to be surrounded by great people, some of whom are here today, notably Joe McUrchin, Richard Johnson. I saw Richard here earlier. Grace Dixon is here, who was the head of our recording division for many, many years. Mark Irwin, Melissa King, our Chief Deputy Clerk, Renee Jerkins, our Financial Administrator, Russ Davison, Mike Avery, Miranda Phelps, Susan Powers, and of course the other members of the court staff. The credit for the success achieved during the past 24 years in large part goes to the persons I just named and noted, but also to the court's general counsel, the lobbyist, and the lawyers serving as temporary judges, Greg Carwey, General Conservator for Mobile County. We've now gone, I guess, 29 years without any kind of issue related to Mobile County's General Conservator. And I'm very proud of that, as I know Greg is. Frank Cruz, former General Administrator, and now Tony Hoffman, our current General Administrator. All of them have had a role in what we've been doing and any success that we've been able to attain and recognize. And I thank every one of them for all they've done to assist me in the management and the operation of the court. I would also be remiss if I didn't comment about our election officials across the county. I got to thinking when, in the heyday, before we had electronic voter registration check-in system, which started in 2020, we were utilizing right at 2,000 poll workers when we conducted a countywide election. Now it's dropped down to about 1,200 since 2020 with the advent and use of new technology that's been available. But during those 24 years, during the past 24 years, I've had the opportunity and privilege to meet and work with many fine citizens across Mobile County, every part of it, every nook and cranny. And we've got some great people in this community that have helped us when we have to conduct elections. And you know, it's not easy being a poll worker, and the compensation for serving as a poll worker is minimal. But I'm extremely proud of Mobile County's reputation for conducting elections the correct way, by the letter of the law, and I thank all of our poll workers across the county for all they've done in the past 24 years to enable us to attain what we've attained, most notably the reputation that we have. You may not appreciate it, but being a judge is a lonely occupation. If you're going to properly fulfill the role, you're required to always be cognizant of appearances, what you say in the courtroom, who you converse with, who you associate with outside the courthouse, when you associate with them, and the activities you engage in. There's a saying that perception's 9/10 of reality. A judge is constantly being observed by the persons with pending matters before the court, lawyers, court staff, and members of the community. My personal philosophy was and has been, I would not do something for one person that I wouldn't do for every other person. It has been difficult at times to deal with issues as a judge, which brings me to my friends. And I want to thank all of my friends who have helped keep me grounded, so to speak, in the past 24 years with reality. It's hard for me to grasp this point in my life. It's kind of like the dog that chases the car, catches the car, then the dog doesn't know what to do with the car once the dog catches it. And I've been asked what my future plans and goals are. I've been very busy, especially the last 13 months with the general election cycle of 2024, and knowing that I was moving into retirement. And I tell you, from November until last night, I was dealing with an emergent matter last night at 10 o'clock. A very serious situation that presented itself. But with all that's been going on, I haven't been able to really identify a definitive game plan about what I'm going to do come Sunday midnight. But I will say that I look forward to stop being known as Judge Davis and rather known as Mally, Davis's and Charlie's grandfather, or Yee as they refer to me. I hope to possibly cycle, resume triathlons, and maybe become a honeybee keeper. I also want to thank the County Commission, Mayor Sandy Stimpson, who had to depart early, my longtime friend Joe Bonner, president of my alma mater, for which Beth and I are both very proud, the legislative delegation, and Governor Ivey for their resolutions. And I thank all of our speakers today for their kind words and observations. And again, I want to say thanks to all the court's current and past employees for all they have done, because truly today should be more of a celebration about them and not about me. Thank you all very much. I wish everyone here the best of luck and Godspeed in the future.
If you'll remain standing, and we'll have a brief benediction and thanks for our refreshments downstairs, and then everyone can enjoy that. God, thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to honor and recognize Judge Davis and Beth and their family for all the years of service he has provided to the citizens of Mobile County and to our state and to our nation, and just the impact he has had for good in this role. We pray that you will bless them in this new stage of life, that you will give them the joys and comforts that they look for, and the warm feelings of a job well done. We are grateful that you provided the refreshments for us today, and that we get to enjoy those to our benefit, and just have us to use those to make our bodies fit for your service. Bless us as we go forward today. With all these we ask in Christ's name, amen. All right, thank you so much for being here.